What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our team builder for week 7 of Red Season 8. Taking on my good pal Biri and the Carioca Krooks. Biri is currently number 1 in the league, actually. We're sitting in 5th place right now, just behind TB. We could be ahead of him had we hit the Stone Edge and whatnot. Pretty tight race at the top of the standings right now. And at 4 wins, we're currently sitting in a playoff spot regardless, because I believe top 6 make it. So I am currently sitting in a playoff spot. I'd love to be a little bit higher than I am right now. But we've played pretty well at the start of the season. I'm really proud of how we've played. We definitely took a hard loss to Nathan. I do believe we should be 5-1 based on our match against TB. Just getting a little bit hacked out there, but besides that, we've had a really successful start to the season. We've played a lot of the bottom of the table. In fact, we've played the lowest 4 teams in Specs, Nacho, and Loco, and we've beaten all 3 of them. So it'd be nice to pick up wins against some of the better players. In fact, we played Biri and then David, who's Recon Jack, 2 weeks in a row here. And they're both near the top. Actually, who did we play in week 9? Yeah, so these are probably our hardest 2 matches of the season, actually, against Biri and David. So I'm looking to pull basically as much differential out of these and be 4-4 after that, and then maybe win my last 2 games to go 6-4. I'm not entirely confident that I'm going to win either of these, just because their skill level is much better than mine. But I have a few tricks up my sleeve for this match against Biri, and we'll see how well it does. So let's run through Biri's team here. Then he's got the Torn T Z-User, Heatran, Toxapex, Mega Heracross, Raikou, Flygon Z-User, Lycanroc Dusk, Liepard, Azumarill, Sawsbuck Z-User, and Grumpig. Priority users in the Azumarill with Aqua Jet, Lycanroc Dusk with Sucker Punch, and Accelerock. Hazard setters in the Heatran with Rocks, Toxapex with T-Spikes, and Lycanroc Dusk with Rocks. Removal options in the Flygon with Defog and the Tornadus with Defog, and that's it. 4 times weaknesses in the Heatran to Ground, Heracross to Flying, and the Flygon to Ice. So I should have most of that covered. And yeah, let's just hop right into things here with the team. So first up is Rotom-Mow. I am bringing removal option this week. There's a reason for that. I probably normally wouldn't against his team, even if he wanted to get up rocks against me. It wouldn't do much besides save my Entei a little bit of health, because I am bringing Magikarp Reuniclus. Yeah, so I'm not like super sold on getting removal off this week, but if I have to, I have to. This is a especially defensive wall for potentially any variant of Grumpig, really. I can chew a hit from the Torn, potentially, maybe live a hit from the Heatran and Volt Switch out on it. It's realistically, it's a Raikou check. I think Raikou is probably his best way to break through Suicune, unless he's just bringing like a fucking SD Mega Heracross with Bullet Seed. That would be the other best option of his to break through Suicune. Otherwise, he has a really hard time dealing with it, besides just letting Peck sit in front of it, which is definitely an option. I mean, he can do that for sure. I don't think it's a good option, but it's an option of his. It'll just lead to a very toxic, heavy, stally game, and I have pressure, so he's going to lose that 1v1 eventually, unless he thinks that I'm Crocoon, and then he would do that. I'm not Crocoon, but there you go. I'm just running Mono Electric. Not really threatened by the Flygon in any way with my Rotom. He could U-turn on me for sure, but I can Toxic him as well. So that's sort of the thing there. Unless he's banded, he's not really threatening my Rotom, and if he sets up on me, I can get a Toxic off and put myself in a better spot, because Suicune can handle the Flygon once it sets up. It is a Z-User, so it's got that going for it. Oh, I forgot to talk about what I'm expecting and not really expecting. I definitely think Torn, Heatran, Pex, Heracross, Raikou are coming. That's 5, and then I think one of Lycanroc Dusk or Azumarill would come as the most likely options. I'm hoping it's Azumarill. My plan revolves around a Belly Drum Azumarill coming, so we'll see about that. Yeah, I'm fully specially defensive. Again, this is a Raikou check. I didn't really want to go super in-depth with the set all that much. Suicune's next. Roar, Scald, Toxic Protect, so a variant of Vincoon, but I'm not running the sub. I'm running Roar instead. Hopefully to phase him over hazards. I am bringing Rocks, and hopefully to deal with that. Or at the very least, blow through his setup mons, get rid of the setup mons. I've got to be really careful about the Mega Heracross and doing that, so I might actually want to move some of this to speed now that I'm thinking about it. I might want to move some of it to speed, because he might be speed creeping something like Rotom-Mow with the Mega Heracross. Could he speed creep Entei if I was adamant? No, he can't really speed creep adamant Entei with it, but he might be speed creeping potentially modest Rotom-Mow, and so I might have to go a little bit above that. So this Suicune set may change by the time I get to the battle, but that's the whole idea behind the Suicune, is just Toxic Stall stuff to death. Scald is there just to burn stuff, I guess, realistically. I'm not doing much to the Pex, but at the very least I can stall it out of some stuff. If he burns me, that's a little bit worse for me, because I don't have rest, so my leftovers will be will be gone at that point. I mean, Pex can't really do much besides set up T-Spikes against me. He might opt into doing that. We'll sort of see. But I can potentially just PP stall out the Toxapex with the Suicune, and it's just in general a decent wall to most of the team. I do have the Toxic for the Grumpig as well. Grumpig could get out of hand if he's a Belly Drum variant of Grumpig. So he does have the 2 Belly Drum users, and that's why I've kind of got this Entei set in the back that we'll talk about later. Yeah, so just sort of a defensive Coon. Aggron, fully physically defensive. I mean, I didn't really have a better option. It can tank hits from the Lycanroc Dusk, can tank hits from the Flygon, it can tank hits from the Sawsbuck, it can maybe tank hits from the Heracross. It really depends on what he goes for. Heracross has a stupid good attack stat. It's over 180, something really, really fucking dumb. So I can't take that many hits. Definitely cannot take a hit in regular form. I need to be Mega'd, and I need to have Filter to be able to deal with that at all. I can deal with the Azumarill potentially as well, although at +6 he might be able to kill me. I'm not entirely sure. I have T-Wave just to slow some stuff down. It'd be really helpful to T-Wave mons like the Torn T. Mons like the Raikou, it'd be useful to T-Wave. Well, sorry, I can't T-Wave Raikou. What the hell am I talking about? I could T-Wave the Sawsbuck. That'd be really nice. And T-Waving the Lycanroc would be nice. Basically, T-Waving anything I wouldn't want to Toxic. And T-Waving the Pex could be helpful, potentially. Although, maybe not. Earthquake's there to catch the Heatran if it really wants to switch in. I don't think he's dumb enough to switch in Heatran on an Aggron, just in case I do click Earthquake. So it's also there for the Lycanroc, basically, because I am not running Heavy Slam. I am running Seismic Toss as my attacking move to be able to potentially beat the Toxapex, or at least force it out. So if I can paralyze the Toxapex and it gets full parried, it should be 3-shot by Seismic Toss, I believe. Should be 3-shot. It really depends on his HP investment, I think. But that's the idea behind Seismic Toss, really. And then I've got Rocks there to punish his switching. Breaks any sashes that might be on the team, specifically Liepard I'm worried about having a sash, Lycanroc I'm worried about having a sash, Flygon I'm worried about having a sash. They're all fairly common sash users, and I'm just physically defensive again. I didn't really have a reason to be anything other than that. He might be like Fire Z Torn with Heat Wave. I've got to scout that and go into Suicune on it probably. Garchomp's next. I'm running a SD3 attack set with Earthquake, Dragonclaw, Aerial Ace. So Aerial Ace is there for the Heracross, which at +2 I should be able to kill it very reliably. Earthquake blows through a lot of his team, and Dragonclaw can take out the Flygon. This set actually puts in really good work. Aerial Ace will also hit the Sawsbuck, which is pretty useful because it is a grass and normal type. It's a little bit harder than Dragonclaw might. And Dragonclaw is also there for the Torn. Basically, everything else doesn't appreciate Earthquake, and so that's the whole idea behind it. I am Dragon Z rather than Ground Z because, again, these mons don't appreciate the Earthquake, and Dragon Z is still a good nuke against something like a Toxapex if I can set up on it. Hopefully I don't get burnt. Running enough speed on here for the Flygon, so if he Scarf Flygon, he'll outspeed me. That'd be really good to know. I'll punish him a little bit with the rough skin damage, and then from there I can potentially go into something else, like Aggron, get up Rocks for free, something along those lines, set up a Seismic Toss. Yeah, Rocks for free if he's locked into like Outrage or something like that for sure. Next up is the Entei. This is a really cool set, and it banks on him not having hazards up, of course, with my Focus Sash, but the idea is I will copy his Belly Drum stats with Azumarill. He might want to set up a Belly Drum in my face with Entei. At the very least, I can Psych Up on... Like, if he's already set up and he kills something, I can bring in Entei, psych up his Belly Drum stats, so I'll be +6 Entei. And then Extreme Speed goes before him. And at that point, Extreme Speed should kill everything I'm not faster than, and Stomping Tantrum will kill everything that I am slower, or that I am faster than. So basically, anything that outspeeds Entei should die to a +6 Extreme Speed. Anything slower than Entei will die to a +6 Stomping Tantrum for sure, even through a Shukaberry. And I've also got the Swagger there just in case I wanted to do a +2 strategy. If I can whittle things down enough, then I can Swagger something like the Toxapex, psych up the boost, and go from there. And actually, that should be enough for Stomping Tantrum to potentially kill the Toxapex, depending on his investment. I would just click Swagger a few times. I have confirmed Swagger is allowed. It's like the Bright Powder strat I did a couple weeks ago. This one isn't intended to make any hacks go in my favor. I'm not trying to confuse things. I'm trying to get the attack boost. That's the intention behind the set. So Biri, if you're watching this after the match and for some reason I confuse you and you hit yourself in confusion, I'm very sorry. That was not the intention behind this set. The intention was to get the attack raise on my Entei and be able to sweep. So this is actually the second variant of this. I originally had a Pasho Berry set with Flame Charge over Extreme Speed, and the idea was to live a hit from Azumarill, but at +6 I don't really live a hit with Pasho Berry anyways, so it was just a bit better to have the Sash and switch it to Extreme Speed so that I can kill the mons that are faster than me instead of relying on getting a Flame Charge boost. That was sort of the idea behind that. So instead of being the jolly set that I was before that was speed tank Flygon, I am now Adamant with enough speed for something Heatran. So I'm outrunning Heatran and then max attack Adamant because I have to be Adamant for extreme speed. Excuse me. A little bit of HP to make it odd. And then I've also got the 4 in defense there. So that's Entei, really fun set. Hopefully it can put in a lot of work. If it doesn't, I won't be too fussed. I'm not really overly expecting to win this game. I don't think I have a great matchup. He's got some really good breakers for my walls. And he can pull out some wacky and wild shit too. So, but if this Entei set works, I will be a very happy man today. Last but not least is Reuniclus. I'm just running a Recover 3 attacks Life Orb set. It kind of puts in a shitload of work against him. I was considering running a Trick Room set. Maybe Trick Room's better than running the Recover. The only issue being the Liepard encoring me into Trick Room would be a really big problem, but essentially I can Psychic my way through the Pex, I can Focus Blast my way through the Tran, and Signal Beam will hit the it'll hit the Grumpig and the Liepard, which is why I'm running Signal Beam. It's also a decent way to hit the Sawsbuck if I really need to. I think I would rather run Trick Room and just force him to sort of sack shit over Recover. So instead of running this extremely offensive spread, I'm going to run a defensive spread and see what I can set up a Trick Room against, because this Reuniclus should put in a lot of offensive work against his team. It should just it should be able to pick up at least 1 kill when it comes in, but it doesn't necessarily need to be offensive to do that. So I will figure that out and adjust it before the match here, which is happening in about 45 minutes actually. So yeah, that's the team. In terms of what I'm not bringing, Clefable didn't really look that good against Pex and Tran. It can't really beat either of them 1v1. You know, Pex just, if I want it to be like a calm mindset with Stored Power, Pex can haze me to death. Heatran kills me. I'm somewhat setup fodder for the Heracross, although he doesn't really want to take a Moonblast. Heracross is really good Spadef. It obviously threatens the Flygon, potentially forces the Flygon to bring a Steelium Z set if he's running Iron Tail for it, which I think he might. It can be an unaware set maybe for the Azumarill, something along those lines, but overall I just didn't really feel like Clefable was the best of options this week. I just kind of had better plans in mind. Keldeo, another mon that's kind of just walled by Pex. Pex is really annoying, by the way. Otherwise, Keldeo would have had a really good matchup to me. The Azumarill being a problem, but HP Poison is definitely a thing, and just Toxic Spam probably would have been like a sub-Keldeo set. It's able to threaten out the Liepard at the very least, and maybe deal with a Grumpig. Specs Keldeo also wouldn't have been horrible. I mean, he doesn't really have the best water resist. Okay, sorry, I shouldn't say that, because Pex is a really good water resist. But outside of Pex, his team gets blown back a little bit by water, so if I was in a position to do that, I could do that, despite seeing the Sawsbuck and the Azumarill, of course. Alolan Persian was a way to stop the Grumpig. Obviously, parting shot around and whatnot. It's kind of set up bait for a lot of stuff. I could have run a taunt set to shut down mons like Pex, but overall just didn't seem that worth it to me. Munchlax probably isn't going to see any action this season, honestly. I ran through the matchups and I really don't see Munchlax coming to any games. I'm considering dropping it. I just can't figure out what it would be for. It's a 1 point wonder. I'd want to drop it with something else and get maybe a better value pick and just run with 9 mons, but yeah, Munchlax, I mean, it could have come as a Raikou check maybe, but he's got a lot of physical attackers as well, so it just didn't make that much sense to bring Munchlax. I thought about a curse set, which could have been all right, as long as I'm setting up against a passive attacker like the Heatran or the Toxapex, but it really, Pex getting Haze just kind of shuts that entire idea down. So that is the team. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will be taking on Biri and the Carioca Krooks, and I will catch you guys for the match.